My name is John Nardo, and I'm Oglethorpe's Associate Provost and Interim Dean of the Hammack School of Business. I'm sorry that we can't be in person together. I wish that we could get to know you each individually instead of being in this virtual space, but I think you're going to have a good insight into the kinds of relationships that these dedicated faculty members build with their students and what's special about Oglethorpe. I've been at Oglethorpe for longer than most of you students have been alive. I've been here for 21 years, and there is something special about Oglethorpe, and I have served very diligently with these faculty members for most of that time. And you're going to get to hear from them very, very quickly. And I'm going to bring it to a close and just say, welcome, glad you're with us. But I think it's more important you hear from the faculty and hear from our students. Have a good night.
Perfect, thank you so much. So we can go ahead and jump into our content here. I will let the faculty members introduce themselves when we arrive at the academic information. And we're definitely going to hear from our current students as well. They're going to tell you about some of their experiences and once again, answer your questions. So please feel free to go ahead and use that Q&A box at the bottom to send us your questions starting now. You're welcome to send those. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share with you here in one moment. Let me pull this up and then we will get right on into it. All right, so as you know, this program tonight is about our Hammack School of Business. So you're going to meet faculty and students of our HSB program. When I say HSB from now on, that's what I'm talking about, Hammack School of Business. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So our Hammack School of Business is relatively new and really, really exciting. We've always had fantastic business programs, and as you can see here, we're one of the few institutions of the time in 1870 when we first relocated to Atlanta to be offering these types of classes. So it was innovative even back then. However, the Hammack School of Business launched in 2019 after we got a historic donation from an Oglethorpe graduate, Bill Hammack. Which was a $50 million donation, which enabled us to both begin our brand new Hammack School of Business, which we're so excited about, and build a fantastic home for that School of Business, which is our Cousin Center for Science and Innovation. Also houses our fantastic science programs, but we're very excited to have some really cool spaces there specifically for our Hammack School of Business students. So we've been innovating since the beginning. This is a new next step. But it's helping us to expand our fantastic and really popular business programs even more. And the fact that we are at home in Atlanta, we'll get to a little bit more of that later, but it makes this program so impactful, and we're excited to share those opportunities with you. All right, so here we have some more information about our academic programs, and I'm gonna let our faculty step in since they are the experts and tell you more about these. And faculty, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling us what you teach and things like that, as you give us more information about your programs, that would be fantastic.
Well, did you want me to start?
I don't.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if you wanted to or not, Lynn. I'd be glad to at the top of the page. Well, welcome this evening. I'm Bob Birchfield. I'm the accounting program coordinator and a faculty member teaching accounting and investments. Accounting is a very strong program and major at Oglethorpe. Our accounting students not only take the core, the liberal arts core, focused core, but also a full range of accounting classes. But they're also required to take almost every business course that a business major must have. So our majors not only get the theory from the classroom, they also have a chance to apply it, not only in projects, but in internships. Our graduates are in great demand in the job market. Our accounting majors have some of the highest number of internships of any major at Oglethorpe, and those internships often result in job offers. We're a small school and a relatively small program, but I'm frequently told by recruiters that they prefer our accounting majors because of not only their accounting academic background, but their liberal arts skills. You know, our students have been challenged to think critically, to problem solve, and to communicate effectively, both orally and written. As a small school, my colleagues and I know our students and our majors. We can coach and advise them during their time here, and that's really one of the more rewarding things, I think, to us as a faculty member. I've been teaching at Oglethorpe for 7 years now, unlike John, a short period of time. And it's been my pleasure to see some of my graduates now returning to Oglethorpe after having been out a few years into that real world and recruiting our current majors with job opportunities. At a small school like Oglethorpe, your students are going to grow and mature. They're going to make friendships and connections that they'll be able to keep for the rest of their lives. It's a good program. It's a good school. I love working with the students, and my colleagues are just a great group of people. Turn it over to Lynn.
Thanks, Bob. I'm Lynn Goody, the Mack Rickard Professor of Business and Economics. I've been here more years than Bob and less than John, so I've been here for 17 years. And I largely teach in the business program and specifically the management courses. Our business administration program is more of a generalist business administration program where we integrate in our program all the functional areas of business, including marketing, management, finance, accounting, economics, and analytics. In addition, we offer a wide range of advanced business electives for students to take, such as electives in investments, leadership, international business, analytics, advanced analytics, and other courses like in the area of marketing, such as marketing strategy. Students can choose to specialize into one of those functional areas I just mentioned, or they can keep their generalist degree that prepares them for a wide range of entry-level business positions. We recognize that not all freshmen know exactly what area of business they want to go into, so we allow them the opportunity to take classes in all of those areas and then specialize later on if they choose to. The business program is the largest, if maybe one of the largest, we might be second, on campus. It's a very popular program. A significant percentage of our students are student athletes, and our students are involved in a wide range of organizations across campus, some of which we'll talk about in a little bit. I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Copeland.
Hello, I'm Cassandra Copeland, Professor of Economics. I have been at Oglethorpe, I guess by John's assessment, I'd be 22 years in. And I am pleased to be the coordinator for the economics program. I feel like economics in the Hammack School of Business offers an alternative, as you might imagine, to the business and accounting majors, as well as our other majors and minors. For students that might be interested in market research, financial analysis, budget analysis, and grad school, right? So the liberal arts focus, as with the other majors, is prevalent in our economics program, and we offer two avenues down which you can follow the economics path. One is a Bachelor's of Arts in Economics that is really designed for students that are interested in going to graduate school, or allowing for a double major, which is often the case in our program. The Bachelor of Science is similar to, as Bob said about accounting, it's got a concentrated core of business classes aligned with the core economics program. And that is economics offering that allows for students to follow directly into a career path, or those that might be interested in an MBA or a master's program are going into some sort of business enterprise or focusing on policy. We have students in our program that have certainly gone to grad school in policy. They've gone to law school. Many have interned at very distinguished places, including currently we have an internship occurring at the Federal Reserve in Atlanta. And we have had students that have been able to study abroad as well as intern around the country in various kinds of analysis work. So I'm sure that you'll hear from students about all of these courses, but I'll turn it back to Lynn now to talk about human resource management.
Human resource management is one of the more specialized programs in the Hammack School. The Human Resource Management program is an interdisciplinary program that consists of not only the basic business courses in accounting, econ, management, etc., but it also includes a list of psychology and sociology courses. So it really is focused on that human resource component of an organization. The students in this program then are prepared to assume jobs either in an HR office at a small firm doing a wide range of HR activities, or eventually go into a more specialized field, such as training and development and recruiting. It's a very strong program. Our alumni are everywhere from graduate school to working at big companies like Porsche. We've had students intern at Coca-Cola. It's really a great program. It's very different than the business program. And we enjoy this program a great deal because we enjoy also working with our colleagues in the psychology department. I'm going to continue. Our most recently developed program was the management program. This is a brand new program, just was unveiled of fall of 2020. And what this program does is it, again, includes all the functional areas of business, but then it allows the student to specialize in the specific field of management. So the students in this program would go on and take advanced classes in anything from international business to, again, leadership and power, and other more advanced management classes that we're actually currently trying to develop. It's a new program. It's for students who know they want that field of management. So we have great plans for that program and think it will be quite successful. Finally, the last one, the nonprofit management. We only offer a minor in nonprofit management. This too is an interdisciplinary program that really includes management courses, accounting courses, communications courses, and it also has electives such that students can go off and take a course specifically like in museum management or art management. The unique feature of this minor is that in order to fulfill all the requirements, you have to do 100 service hours. Now you have 4 years to do it. Doesn't have to be all in the same place. But we want to encourage our students to get their feet wet while they're still a student and get some experience working in the nonprofit sector. So we strongly encourage our students to, if possible, work in different nonprofits, but again, prior to graduation, having achieved 100 volunteer hours. So Kelly, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, so we will go ahead and move forward and tell you guys about some fantastic internship opportunities that our Hammack students have done in the past and are doing presently. So this is not an exhaustive list by any means of places where our students can and have interned. But these are places where we see students intern. These are, for the majority, fantastic places here in Atlanta, the city where we are located, which is one of our best assets to our students. I will let the faculty give you a little bit more information. I do want to point out this piece here at the bottom. Some people don't know Atlanta is the third largest hub for Fortune 500 headquarters in the US, which means that right outside of our doors are the types of places that most of our students want to be working, and they can start getting that experience before they ever leave Oglethorpe's gates. So we're really excited to be able to offer these types of opportunities. These are also places where our students end up working. So we see students intern there, we see students get placed there after graduation. And so these are places that really like our students, like working with our students, as Dr. Birchfield was saying, like recruiting our students. So if faculty have anything they would like to mention about any of these sites or just internships in general, I'll let you all do that. But everybody review this list, and I'm sure these are some names you've heard of before.
Okay, I want to jump in before Bob because there'll be no shutting him up once he starts. So let me just point out a few things that you might find of interest. One is you'll see Porsha on the list. There's two things I want to mention about that. One is that the, what's his title? Executive President of Porsha North America, Joe Lawrence, is the president of the Hammack School of Business Advisory Board. And his connection to Oglethorpe is quite unique in that somehow, some way, we had a student now years ago get a job with Porsha after she graduated. And she, like the loyal Oglethorpe students that we have, recruited another student to do an internship there, who recruited another student to work there, such that at one time we had 13 Oglethorpe students working at Porsha. The second one I want to point out is Global Payments, the CFO, right, Bob?
Yes.
The CFO of Global Payments.
Well, currently the president, though. He was promoted.
Oh, that's right. I
He's running the whole
apologize.
thing now, yeah.
The president of Global Payments is an Oglethorpe alum, also serves on our board of trustees. So it's nice that we have a connection with them as well. We've had students who obviously do internships at Disney, and you can see Make-A-Wish is on there. We have many other nonprofit organizations where students have done internships, but that, as they said, this is just a sprinkling of some of the internship sites our students have been able to land very high quality internships.
And along those same lines, an Oglethorpe trustee actually facilitated an internship that led to a job for an economics major at UPS. So I think that it's notable that for a small school, we have a lot of really amazing connections, and that is largely due to our location and the really involved active trustees and business people around the area.
Yeah, since I was already, said I was going to talk a lot, I'll talk for a minute. I wanted to mention too that Lynn didn't mention that the former CFO and the current president of Global Payments, you may not be aware, is a huge multinational financial fintech financial technology firm, a very successful firm, growing firm. That CFO and president is actually a former accounting major of Oglethorpe, and the current worldwide controller is also an accounting major here. One of the things that Cassandra mentioned that is oh so true is that with a small, intimate school like we have, the people that leave here love it, and they stay in contact for the rest of their lives. And many of these, and we could double that list easily, of internships that we've had recently are through those connections. The Oglethorpe network, the Oglethorpe connections, lead many of our students to internships and job offers. And what I'm finding is even 10 years down the road, these students are still in contact, and they contact me when they've got a job opportunity for someone with experience now. So now I'm sort of fielding opportunities for our graduates, and I'm trying to get that all organized so we can do that in a little more efficient way. But it's really an amazing thing to watch, and it's great to be a part of this network.
One of the things that these dedicated faculty members are perhaps being a little shy about is how much time and energy they do spend making that kind of connection. Sometimes students come to us and have a firm picked out that they want to go intern or work for, like Disney on this list. One of my freshman advisees from last year came in, told me on day one at Oglethorpe, I want to intern at Disney. So she had a very definite plan, and she did everything it took to get it. But others don't have an idea of where they might fit best. And these faculty members get to know those students very personally and know how to match make the right firm with the right student. And they work tirelessly at that. So, if you have an idea, great. If you don't, talk to your faculty members and they will help you find the right path for you.
Yeah, and we've talked a little bit about how it's a small school. If you're not that familiar with Oglethorpe, you haven't done a regular info session with us, you may not know our size and some of those things. We're just under 1,500 students for our total enrollment. That means your class's average size is going to be around 17 students, and that means your faculty will actually know your name, they'll know your major, they'll know your goals. Before you all logged in, we were talking, all the panelists, and Dr. Goody was talking to Calvin about where he sat in a class years ago, remember what corner that he sat in, and things like that. So they're going to be able to use that information about you, if you let them and want them to help you make those connections and get those goals that you have in mind that may not be possible at a school where they're have 5,000 students in their major, right? So that is a real benefit that our students are able to take advantage of. So that's something that we want you to keep in mind when you're evaluating different programs. All right, I'm going to move on now to talk about some different opportunities on campus that exist for our HSB students. There are student organizations that students can join, and this is an important part of your time as well, both from a resume standpoint as well as making connections with other students who have the similar interests. You'll have faculty advisors in these clubs that are great to get to know. You might have guest speakers and projects that are a part of them. So this is really important for your development as well. You can see a few of the student organizations listed here. for students who have interest in these areas. As well as our required lecture series down here. You can see some of the really incredible speakers that have come and shared their experience, answered questions, met students, right? There's tons of photos of, you know, our students actually shaking hands with these fantastic people, asking them their advice, asking questions, making connections. And so this is a benefit as well. And if you come to one of these lecture series, again, because we're a small school, you're not going to be in a lecture hall with, you know, thousands of people. You're going to be in an intimate environment where you can ask your questions and get to know folks. So I will let faculty, if you want to mention anything about this or point out some details, you feel free to go ahead and do so.
Go ahead, Cassandra.
The Economics Club is available to anyone who would like to join, and it's really designed as part an academic club and part social club and a networking opportunity. And I would assume that you'll hear that about all of the clubs and organizations, as well as the Rickard Lecture Series, that it offers us all an opportunity to engage in thoughtful conversations about our subjects, as well as navigate, you know, interesting speakers and activities like visiting different businesses around the Atlanta area, as well as promoting the types of scholarship opportunities within and outside of the community. And so it really does serve two roles in many ways. And I'm assuming that Bob will say the same for accounting.
I will, but I don't have to, thank you. The Accounting Society is sort of the club, the professional organization for accounting majors. I'm sure they would be more than happy to have other majors join as well, but haven't really had much interest so far. It's a faculty advisor directed but student-led organization, and it is, as Cassandra said, for both academic and social purposes. The students will organize a movie night. They will put together guest speakers who will come in and talk about topics. We almost always have one of the big CPA test prep companies come in once or twice a year and talk about their particular products and why they're the best. The students also organize 2 or 3 get-togethers where they'll walk across from the campus to the local burger joint over there and have burgers and just talk about probably all of us faculty members and the courses that they're in. So it creates that network. It creates the students develop, they get some academic opportunity. They meet some folks from outside in the fields that they're interested in. It works out wonderfully. Entrepreneur Club, Lynn, did you want to talk about the other two?
Go right ahead, Bob.
Well, I wasn't going to.
I thought you wanted to.
No.
We have the Entrepreneurship Club is one of our newer clubs, and to be honest, I was not directly involved with it. I do know last year we had a entrepreneur as the faculty advisor to this club, and the students worked on their business plan, and then at the end of the semester, that's when we were already remote, right? At the end of the semester, they gave their business plan pitch via Zoom, and then I think the top 3 business plans received some amount of funding. I don't remember exactly how much, but they did receive funding towards their small business idea. The Investments Club, Bob, you can talk about that one.
Okay, the Investment Club is also relatively new. It's the faculty advisor is another faculty member who's not here this evening. It is for students who are interested in investments. It is an active group. It's interesting. Almost more academic. They're much more interested in learning and how to apply what the various securities markets and derivatives and all those things are, and how they can make a fortune by next Tuesday. It's interesting to watch. We've had in the past, we've had student teams competing in a couple of nationwide investment competitions. One is the CFA Equity Research Challenge, and another one is the Bloomberg Stock Picking Challenge. And that's been a lot of fun, as well as very educational for the students that were involved in that. Kelly?
Around $3,000 to $5,000 that was given away in that entrepreneurship or competition.
Okay.
And as the Mackay Rickard Chair, as I mentioned earlier, along with the committee, we are responsible for finding and arranging a lecture every fall and every spring. And these are some of our past speakers. As I said, Joe Lawrence is the president of the Hammack Advisory Council. In the picture there, that is Christian Fisher, who is the president and CEO of Georgia Pacific. And the other thing I do want to add, and this is what helps make Oglethorpe unique, is that one of the things, not all the time, because we allow the speaker to choose, but when Darren Eales, the president of Atlanta United, came, he chose, instead of giving a 40-minute talk, he was interviewed by a group of our students. So we chose some students, prepped them, and where you see Mr. Fisher sitting up on that chair right now, we had not only Darren Eales, as we had 3 students that sat there and interviewed him. They had the opportunity to obviously meet him personally, and then for 40 minutes, ask him a series of questions that they had prepared in advance. The plus is they actually got to meet him, they actually got to interact with him, and they got to sharpen some of their interpersonal skills as well as their presentation skills. So it gave them the opportunity to be a part of what for us is a high profile event, and you know, have that as part of their memory of Oglethorpe forever. I know the students that have been involved in the Rickard Lecture Series before have greatly valued that opportunity, and we are thrilled to be able to provide them that opportunity that I think at a larger school is sometimes hard to get. Kelly?
Yeah, having those types of skills in college, I can't even imagine. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is our last slide, and then we will move into hearing from our current students and then getting into your Q&A. But we definitely want to mention our Hammack School of Business full tuition scholarship that we offer every year. This is a really great opportunity for a student interested in majoring in any of the fields that we've talked about. It is not specifically for business administration students, though they are certainly welcome as well, but any of those HSB majors, this is open to those students. This is for early action applicants only. Our early action application is open right now for you seniors, and it does close on November 1st. So if you're interested in being considered for the scholarship, we definitely want you to apply early action before November 1st. We will consider any student that applies who meets the academic criteria as well as has interest in business, has shown they have been involved in business in some way. That's also considered. But we need to know that you're interested in majoring in one of those fields. So if we have no way of knowing that you're interested in business, we're not able to nominate you for the scholarship. So definitely let us know in your application that you are thinking about majoring in one of these Hammack School of Business fields. And if you have any experience with entrepreneurship, you have your own business, you have shadowed somebody in the field, you have a part-time job, while those things are not necessarily required for nomination, they definitely look really good for us. So we love to see those things. If we think that you'll be a good candidate for the scholarship, we will nominate you to come to our scholarship weekend Hammack School of Business competition in February. So we'll notify you if you have been nominated, and if you accept the invitation to the competition, you can come and participate and compete to win the full tuition scholarship. Like I said, we will choose one per year. It's going to be a full tuition scholarship for your 4 years at Oglethorpe. You would be able to choose between a stipend for use towards study abroad or professional internship opportunity. You'll be invited to join our President's Emerging Leaders program, which is a fantastic program training in leadership. You get to meet some amazing people, be mentored by some incredible people, of course, have access to our university president. So that is a great program as well. And if you like, you have the opportunity to enroll in an honors course in your first semester at Oglethorpe. So we definitely encourage you to apply early. If you are obviously interested in business, you are because you are here. So we want you to apply early action. If you have questions about this scholarship, we're happy to let you know more information. I don't know if the faculty want to talk about the competition at all. We can certainly mention that individually to folks if they have questions. You would certainly have that information ahead of time. But faculty, would you like to mention anything about the scholarship?
I just would like to mention that the competition is held during scholarships weekends. It's usually all day Friday, and you are there all day. We like to have you there from early in the morning till late in the afternoon. And the competition includes everything from an oral presentation. We have students find an article business related, and give, I think it's only a 3 to 5 minute presentation. We then have you working with a team, compete in a business simulation game that lasts several hours. And then finally, we also give you a writing prompt and have you send us back an example of your writing that we also use. So it's a combination of your oral skills, written presentation skills, and your ability to function on a team that we use in selecting our annual Hammack Scholar.
Perfect. So please do apply early. There's no downside to doing so. It's a free application. Like we said, you'll be considered for full tuition scholarships. We'll send you an answer typically within 2 weeks of your application and materials being received. So it is a win-win to apply early. And of course, you potentially have this fantastic benefit of a full tuition scholarship. So we hope you all will apply if you are seniors, and we on the admission staff are happy to answer any questions you may have about that. So either email us or ask your questions now, and we're happy to answer them. All right, that is the end of our slideshow. So I'm going to navigate away from that, and we are going to hear a little bit from our fantastic students. So I would love it if you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, telling us your name, your major, and what year you are at Oglethorpe, as well as anything you're involved in outside of the classroom, whether it's clubs or internships or anything like that, if you have outside involvement. And then once we do that, I can ask you guys a couple questions. So Janaya, do you want to start us off, and then we'll move to Calvin?
Sure. Sorry, I lost my audio. I'm Janaya. I'm a major in business administration. I'm a junior. I currently serve or work in the library as a student library assistant, and I'm doing that remotely now. And I also serve as the ICC representative of Lead Campus Ministry on campus.
Hello, everyone. My name's Calvin Schneider. I'm a senior accounting major. I'm also involved in a few clubs on campus, the Rotaract Club, the Accounting Society. I play on the tennis team. Fortunately, no tennis in the fall, but hopefully we will be back in the spring. I'm excited for that. But yeah, I've been itching here to talk a little bit about the school. I really can't say enough good things, and I think I've definitely taken advantage of everything that's been offered, and I'm in a good spot right now in my young career. So I'd love to talk about that.
Absolutely. I would love to know, for our students that are watching, what made you interested in majoring in the field that you're in, whether that was from day one or whether you made some changes. What made you interested in that field? And now that you're in it, what's most exciting or interesting to you about it? Either of you guys.
I think the reason why I chose business administration was because it was very broad, and I just wanted to kind of get a broad sense of like what I was kind of getting into, because I did have hopes of starting a business one day or just kind of working in that firm. My mom, she's working in business like most of her life, so that was just something that I saw myself doing. And then eventually when I made it here and I started the business program, I was just really excited just about how in-depth the classes were, how much I was learning already, just even with Dr. Goody's Wall Street journal assignments. Like, that was really exciting for me. And it just kind of gave me hope that, you know, even if I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, that I would definitely get a sense of it. And I have, with it being my third year now. So.
Yeah, and for me, Dr. Nardo talked about a student earlier that was really set on that Disney career path. And while that student wasn't me, I guess I could say I had some of the same ideas coming in just on the field of accounting. From day one, I spoke with Mr. Birchfield, and I declared I was going to be an accounting major, and I really wanted to do something with accounting since I came on campus. And even before that in high school, I already made my mind up. I wanted to do something in business, and did a lot of my own research, and kind of came out the conclusion that accounting is a really good, solid degree to understand business, and that at the time, and probably even now more so, is a very, very hot field for graduates coming out of college. And so with that in mind, I've been on that career path. This past summer, I interned with KPMG and have already accepted an offer with them upon graduation. So I'm in a very good spot right now in my career, obviously, and can kind of enjoy my senior year. Hopefully no senioritis will take over, but I'm going to make sure, I take care of business, and then I have that job waiting for me. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, what a weight off your shoulders. That's fantastic to hear that students starting senior year, some of them are already, knowing where they're going to be. That's awesome. And for the two of you, is there anything specific that you, either a reason you chose or something you've appreciated since you got here about attending a small school, specifically Oglethorpe, either the small school factor or going to school in the city of Atlanta? I'm not sure where you guys are from, so I don't know if maybe you're from the metro area, but what do you like about Oglethorpe in terms of size as well as location? You can choose either of those or both.
So I think the main thing that I really enjoy about Oglethorpe is that I can, stop by my professor's office hours pretty much like as long as they're in there. They'll talk to me and they'll kind of guide me and give me different perspectives. They also provide very thorough like knowledge just in terms of the real world, and I found that very helpful just as I'm navigating like what specific industry or sector that I want to go into. But I really appreciate that, as well as the class size. I sometimes, especially coming in as a freshman, I was like, I don't know, like when I should raise my hand, I don't know, like I don't want to say anything that's wrong. And just those class sizes really take away a lot of those fears, and you just kind of create more of a bond even with your classmates and your professor. So that's been really good for me.
Yeah, I think the small school feel, as I talked about earlier, has opened up opportunities that I never even imagined. Dr. Goody talked about the Rickard lecture with Darren Eels, and I was leaving class one day up on the second floor of Lupton, and she approached me and said, "We have a Rickard lecture coming up. Would you mind helping out?" That simple. And I was a young kid, I think a sophomore at the time, but I was like, this is, once in a lifetime opportunity. You wouldn't get this in most places. And I said, yes, of course. And obviously up there talking to him was shaking a little bit, but I thought that was a great opportunity at a young point in my life to, those interpersonal skills. But even more so my internship after my sophomore year, Stephanie in the Career Lab and Career Services, approached me and said there was an opportunity at Global Payments that she thought I would be a really good fit for. And, I don't think you get those connections at a larger school, and her being able to just approach me as I walk across campus in both of those cases was just very feasible and awesome. And I'm actually working at Global Payments again before I start my job at KPMG. We kept a good relationship, and I thought, why not make some money and get some more experience while I wait for my next job. So I'm back there and really enjoying my time. And then as far as just being in Atlanta, as I picked a school, that was one of my big things. I wanted to be in a city that had a lot of opportunities. And I didn't even know about that graphic that Kelly had put on the slide about the CEOs in the city. But, I took advantage of that, and I thought that would be a really good opportunity. And, here I am. But that was definitely a driving force for me going into business. And I think really important thing to look at when deciding on a school.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially for business majors, regardless of how great the program is, if you're not able to get those real world experiences because there's nothing around you, that could be a hindrance for you in the long term. So everybody's different, but that's something that our students really take advantage of and is a huge benefit to them in the long run. Calvin, I think your resume as a senior in college is more impressive than mine as a 30-year-old. So take comfort in that. And last question I'm going to ask the students before we move on to Q&A. Is there a class specifically? I won't ask you for a favorite class. I don't want to put you on the spot. But is there a class that you really liked, that you surprised you, or is really interesting or exciting that you can mention so far in your time at Oglethorpe?
A class that I was really interested in that I wasn't even thinking that I would be was business analytics. I never really worked like that, like well with technology, but just learning how important it was just to business and how people even decide to market their products or reach different customers was just really eye-opening for me. And it really made me want to pursue that more and just even pursue different programs more that I just never would have even thought of doing. And Dr. Pampush really made it exciting with a lot of different simulations and things like that. So that was a really, really good course for me.
I promise when I answer here, I'm not just pandering to Mr. Birchfield, but and the accounting in general, but a class that I enjoyed and I think I got a lot out of, and even further, I guess you could say me going into accounting furthered that decision, was the managerial accounting class that I took. And a project we did was kind of my main point in talking about this. Was a project, we picked a company. I remember we picked Delta, and we had to go through and look at their financials. And it was a daunting task being a young student, go through and go onto Edgar, which is the SEC database, and literally go on and pull 10Ks and important documents, and, you know, do a project that basically stuff I'm doing now in my internship, you know, real world stuff. And I thought it was going to be all numbers and boring stuff, but that project was one of the most fun I've had at Oglethorpe, and going through and doing that and working with your group, and then obviously presenting it. I thought that was a very eye-opening experience. And obviously a lot of other classes have projects, but me being in accounting, I love that project. And I think it's a great thing that they do in that class and in other accounting classes. I think it's a great experience.
Absolutely, it sounds like it. And Janaya, I'm glad you mentioned the business analytics, because I realized we did not mention our new certificate program in business analytics, which is really exciting. Just launched this semester. It's something that can be done standalone, right? Even for folks who aren't undergraduate students, but you can do it also as an undergraduate student. So, you know, it's 3 classes, and you can earn a certificate in business analytics that would be on your resume forever and ever, which is a hugely important skill that's being talked about so much right now. So the department is always trying to come up with innovative ways to, you know, have new and exciting things for you to get experience in, have on your resume, get skills in. So that is another new way to do that as well. Okay, let's move into some questions here. I know a lot have been answered already behind the scenes that were a little bit more specific, but we have had several questions about studying abroad as an HSB major. And I know nobody here is, you know, from the Study Abroad Center, but just in general, do you see students in this department do study abroad? Are there any opportunities that you're aware of that are helpful for HSB students? And is that a feasible thing for our students to do at Oglethorpe? Anybody?
Go ahead, Cassandra.
Yes, I can speak to study abroad. I have conducted, not quite as recently, but certainly over the course of time, 5 courses study abroad, all fundamentally interdisciplinary, but perhaps the one that might connect to the people interested in business and economics would be a study abroad that we did to Western Europe when we were looking at economics and exchange and finance in the Eurozone. And so I taught a class and then took students on a 2-week trip where we were able to visit the ECB, so the European Central Bank, and visit chocolate factories and shipping ports, and talk to business leaders. And so we were really lucky to be able to do that throughout the Netherlands, Belgium, and France. Others have been focused on environmental issues like ecotourism, as well as biological diversity. And so the nice thing I think about Oglethorpe is that we do have these short-term study abroad opportunities that occur that allow students to spend a little bit of time. And then we have longer term, semester long, as you might expect, study abroad opportunities. And as I mentioned when I was discussing the economics major, it is not uncommon to have students double major and even study abroad in the context of those kinds of majors. So it is perfectly feasible, as I've known and overseen many students that were studying abroad as advisees. And certainly we even recently have had plenty of students that have gone to Oxford, Lille, and spent semesters there as well.
One of my favorite memories from before I was in this current role with the Hammack School was I supervised an internship for a student in actuarial science. So that's at the nexus of mathematics and accounting and finance and economics. And she wanted to have an internship in Paris. So I supervised that for her. One of my big regrets is I was not able to go visit and see what was going on the ground with her firm. but that's one of my treasured memories, allowing that opportunity for her to study abroad and get those credits and that real world experience. It was amazing for her. She still talks about it. This is 12 years later.
For students interested in studying abroad, you should also know that Oglethorpe has what we refer to as the GO program, GO standing for Global Oglethorpe, which is a summer program that we offer, and there's all kind of shapes and sizes of the program, but the one I was directly involved in is for 2 summers. I taught in Rome, and the program is 5 weeks long. You go there and you take Oglethorpe classes. We offered business classes, communications classes, and philosophy classes. You took 2 courses. You went to class probably 2/3 of a day, Monday through Thursday. Then you had a long weekend to travel if you wanted to. But I can tell you this. Number one, I enjoyed my 2 6-week stints in Rome. I will never forget those. And the other thing is, if you're a student who's interested in studying abroad, this is really kind of the, I don't know, I would just say generically, the safe way of going, only because you go with a group of students. So I think the first year in Rome, we might have had 40 students. By the second time I went to Rome, we probably had closer to 80 students. So you go with a group of students. They're not all Oglethorpe students. They're students from across the United States. But all these classes, the classes that you would choose from, are all Oglethorpe classes taught by largely Oglethorpe faculty. So you go with a group of students, you get to know the students while you're there. You, again, like everyone always says, make lifelong friends. And you can take some of your Oglethorpe required classes while you're there. It's an awesome program. And so if you end up at Oglethorpe, I strongly encourage you to look into the program and kind of put a place in your 4-year schedule to, you know, try to participate in that before you graduate.
Absolutely. And somebody asked in the Q&A earlier, can you intern abroad? And as Dr. Nardo said, that is a possibility. Doesn't mean everyone's going to do it, but if that's something that you want to do, we want to work with you to see if that is an option. So there's lots of opportunity available. I will kind of let our students answer this one first, and faculty can certainly weigh in, but someone wants to know, would you consider the Hammack School of Business writing intensive? So what has y'all's perspective been on, you know, writing assignments and those types of things as part of your Hammack classes?
I definitely say it is writing intensive to a degree, but it's more so just analysis work. So you're doing a lot of papers on breaking down different companies that you may have learned about, different concepts. For example, I mentioned in Dr. Goody's class, we did a lot of Wall Street Journal reviews. So it's not too long of writings, but you definitely are doing meaningful papers, just looking over basic business concept or just business world knowledge that is happening every single day that you need to know about.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I think the HSB professors understand that we do in our core program already get a lot of writing. So I don't think they try and pile it on, but they don't refrain from giving it at all. You know, there definitely is important articles we go over, but I would say in general, more presentation based, honestly, more real world presentation based type stuff. So that would be my answer on that topic.
Sounds like it's a mixture. In the core program, as Calvin mentioned, the core program that all of our students take is definitely writing is a large component to it. And that's important because for business and any other field you're going to be in, it's important to be able to put your thoughts down in a good way. It's important to be able to analyze things and make your point, whether that's writing or speaking. So it is going to be a component of your Oglethorpe education, certainly. But from what Janaya and Calvin said, it's balanced in terms of other skills as well.
And if I can just throw in, this is a business program, including various majors within that business program in a liberal arts environment. So by definition, we are different than big Research One schools that are focused on different kinds of developmental skills. And what we really want to do is make you better writers. And so we do in our courses have significant writing even on exams. I think the students probably just don't realize how much writing they do whenever these are moments where they're developing the way that they express things. And that is true, as Calvin said, in presentation and writing, as Janaya said, and in just communication.
100%. You're going to learn to write if you go to Oglethorpe. That is for sure. Okay, we have time for just a couple more. Good question here. And we touched on it, so we'll definitely acknowledge that we touched on it early on. But the student says, I have a question regarding the business administration major. As one of the faculty members stated, I can choose to specialize in a certain area, such as finance. How is this more beneficial than a degree in finance? So from your perspective, what is good, what is helpful about having a general degree in business administration and a specialization in one of these more specific areas? How's that good for students?
Bob, are you waiting for me?
Yes, I was.
Okay, thank you. I think I mean, more than anything, I'll be honest, it's a personal choice. I mean, if you know you want finance and you know for sure, like Calvin knew he wanted accounting. So if you know you want finance and you want to take primarily a large chunk of finance classes, then you probably would rather go to a school that has a finance major. I'll just be honest with you. But at the same time, you know, I want to point out that at Oglethorpe, you can do a concentration in finance. You know, we don't have a large program, but our primary finance professor is a CFA, a certified financial analyst. He's very well trained in the field of finance, an excellent professor. But, you know, the one thing I just want you to think about is the fact that, you know, not many students are like Calvin, where they know ahead of time their precise major and they don't change it. Because even there, we have plenty of students who come in as freshmen, I for sure want to be whatever, and then by their sophomore year they're changing because they didn't even know this other program existed. So the one plus I will say of the finance concentration is that, again, you're still taking all the classes in all the areas of business. If you change your mind, if you decide that by the time you get to graduation that, oh my gosh, I'll tell you, I had a human resource management major who was very dedicated to the field of human resource management until she got a job from Porsha to work in special events. She traveled the world planning special events for Porsha. You know, so this whole idea that I know for sure I want to do human resource management flew out the window when she had that unbelievable opportunity. So the concentration in finance, which still has you take all the areas of business, really does add a lot of flexibility, which I think is even more critical in today's very uncertain environment that we're all living in.
And I would add to that and just second it, if you will. My prior experience was 20 plus years with major multi-billion-dollar corporations. I went into those corporations in the finance and accounting field, but I grew over time into other areas such as strategy, mergers and acquisitions, and ultimately was the president of one of the divisions in a couple of companies. That would not have been possible if I'd have just been so narrowly educated in finance. If you really do know you want to do finance and that's it, I'm afraid you're going to have to get a master's degree in finance anyway to really be marketable and competitive. So you might as well get a grounding that's a little broader, so that if you get out there and you decide after a couple of years you don't want to be the finance person the rest of your life, you've got that to fall back on. I think the business is a totality, and it's not just the individual areas, even accounting. I mean, I think accounting is great grounding, but I encourage, and I'm so happy that our students are required to take all these other business courses, because accounting has no value unless you're applying it to a business situation. That's why it exists. And the same way with finance. So I'm pro breadth in the education. And to Lynn's earlier point, you think you know what you want to do, but that changes. I think I frequently see an accounting major, for some strange reason we get a number of the former pre-medical students who go into biology and chemistry, and they get into organic chemistry and they sort of reconsider their life, and they end up as accounting majors, which is kind of odd to me, but they're very analytically oriented and it seems to work really well. So give it a lot of thought and take a look at it.
For sure. We're all about a interdisciplinary, broad education that's going to prepare you for a lot more than your very first job. So keep that in mind no matter what you want to study. This will be our very last question because we are just about out of time. What percentage of graduates from the HSB find jobs? They say within 6 months of graduation. I don't know if we have the 6-month stat, but what percentage of our graduates or how many of our graduates are finding employment after they leave Oglethorpe?
I don't know.
Well, I'll just say that our dean, who has since retired, always used the percentage, and Dr. Copeland, correct me if I'm wrong, but he always used the percentage that 100% of our students had employment 6 months after graduation.
That is what we have. Is we have 100%. Virtually all of our students are finding Hammack students finding employment after graduation. For Oglethorpe overall, it's over 90%. I think it's 93% was the last stat that I had, which is still much higher than the national average. But we find that the HSB graduates are particularly employable and finding a lot of great opportunities. So you set up for success, certainly. From the Hammack School of
We
Business.
should make a new statistic, how many are employed at the beginning of their senior year like Calvin?
A number of the accounting market is hot. And if you hustle and get a good internship or two, internships in accounting almost always end up in job offers. And several of our seniors have got a great job offer locked away. And usually they're great students, so they don't have a problem with that senioritis thing. They keep their nose to the grindstone so they don't blow it the last year. I don't think it'll be a problem, Calvin.
Hey, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not worried about it. We won't let you ease up anyway. Don't worry about it.
I can even speak to, a lot of accounting majors, but I know other people. Like for me, I was even having to turn companies away in a nice way and almost say, I already have a ton of other opportunities, and it's not always nice to turn people away, but it's a good problem to have. And I think a lot of people find that at Oglethorpe, and I think especially in today's world, that's a good problem to have.
That is the best problem to have. That is a fantastic problem to have. All right, guys, we are out of time. I want to thank our panelists so much for joining us and taking time out of your busy schedule, both faculty and our students. We appreciate you so much. Our attendees, I want to thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. We're glad to give you a little bit of a snapshot. If you haven't heard just a general information session about Oglethorpe, we'd love to have you join us on our admission page, which Rachel put in the chat. We'll have all of our events upcoming. So if there's anything you want to join, we'd love for you to sign up, and you can always email us at admission@oglethorpe.edu with any questions, and we're happy to answer them. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening. And for all of you watching, we hope that we will hear from you again soon. So we will say goodbye and wish you a good rest of your evening.